Okay, Proud Baba in the building. Proud Baba in the building. Big up to Davu and the crew that produced this shirt. How y'all doing? I'm on Instagram and I'm on Facebook. Let me straighten out this Instagram. Okay, I'm on Instagram and on Facebook. So we are here. How you feeling? Joy, what's up, cuz? How you been? How Jamaica treating you out there? How treating you out there? Hope everything is all right, Joy. How's everything? First and foremost, want to say love and honor to the creative force. Love and honor to our ancestors that came before us, both modern and ancient, because we are divinely connected to the Creator. We are the children of the Creator. And the Divine Mother and Father is calling us to do our work in such a strong and high capacity. You know, one thing I realized after traveling to New Orleans, and I just came back from New Orleans, I just came back from Atlanta, Georgia, or let's say Georgia, because I wasn't just in Atlanta. And I just came back from North Carolina, and there's been a lot of revelations to me from my family, from my friends, from my former wife, and all that good stuff. But I am wonderful. I am wonderful because that don't kill you only makes you stronger. I'm going to repeat that again. That don't kill you only makes you stronger. Joy, I'm happy that you're my cousin Joy Redwood all the way in Jamaica. Yes, and big up to you, Keisha Hopkins. Thank you, Joy. Love you so much. One of my babysitters from my past. I'm not a baby anymore. I'm 51 years younger. And made in that youth by taking care of my health. So, you know, there's a lot of things that I'm discovering from people, from family, and I am enjoying every moment of it because it's a lesson and it's a blessing. I want y'all to write that down. Everything that comes in your life is either a lesson or a blessing. Everything that comes. No, there's no mistakes. There's no mistakes. And you got to recognize there's no mistakes. It's either a lesson or a blessing. Are you going to learn from it and then be blessed to learn from it and not go back to it again? You know, and that is what I have discovered within myself because it starts with self. At the end of the day, it starts with you, the individual. I can tell you all the numerology readings and break down every little thing about all the numbers that you was born with, all the name numbers and all that. But at the end of the day, I tell everybody that I do consultation from, at the end of the day, you can choose the long road or the short road. Remember, numerology, astrology do not take you away from your God gift or your God's gift that for reading scriptures or Bible or what God has given you. Don't take you away from it. Actually, numerology and astrology is like the GPS that you've been longing for, that map that you've been longing for, that help guide you to even have a better experience with God or Allah or the Creator or your existence from within. It just allows you to be better. That's what I've learned over the years. In my 52 years in this realm, I've learned in 52 years going through various religions. I've been through the schools, and I'm reminded by a dear friend and guide of mine in the reggae world by the name of Jimmy Cliff. He says, this is just the school of life. We're all here to go through these schools. Either we're going to pass the exams or we're going to fail the exams. But one thing even if you fail, it's so important to recognize that a lot of us will fail until we get it right. A lot of us will have to come back and do it again. Some of us have to do a grade over. Some of us become super seniors. Some of us stay in the 10th grade. Some of us stay in the 11th grade. Some of us stay in college and stay in college for 12 or 4 years or 12 years or 13 years. But one thing you have to recognize, family, that this planet Earth, is a school. And either you're going to get the lessons or you're going to get the blessings. And I want y'all to be clear with this. You either going to get the lessons or the blessings in this life. Right now, I know family members that are going through lessons and blessings. They don't realize that the lessons is actually a blessing so you can come out of it to be a better person on the other side. That's really what it is. My sons, my daughters, all of them are going through their lessons and their blessings. But the primary thing that each and every one of us have to do is learn to forgive, because forgiveness, especially when it deals with family, forgiveness is the highest form of healing and being your very best. So you don't have to forget, but forgive and move on. And, my sister, me and my sister had a real heated discussion the other day. Bless my sister's heart. She's a great sister that we seem to distance ourselves for a while, but we're starting to try to mend certain things from what has happened in our past, that will happen in our family's past. And, because a lot of people in the Caribbean hide a lot. They hide the molestation. They've hided the rape. They've hided the cheating. They've hide that. And a lot of people in the Black community, or the so-called Black community, hide things, especially older generation. They hide a lot from what has happened or what transpired in the family, whether uncle molested you or somebody fathered you and all that kind of crap. And there's a lot of hiding going on. A lot of hiding going on. But one thing, everything will come to the top. Everything will come to a head. Everything will come to a head. It always happens. See, Keisha just said something. Keisha Hopkins Forrester, who happens to have a Jamaican husband, so she is Jamaican by injection. Big up to you. Keisha just said, I've tried to forgive, but nope. Keisha, you are born on the 24th. The 24th is a 6. 6 is the number of forgiveness. But I'm not telling you to forget nothing. I'm telling you to forgive and let it go and move on with your life. That's all. Forgive yourself first. That's one thing I had to learn to do. Forgive myself first. Maybe I wasn't in my children's life, certain amount of my children's life for a certain amount of time, chasing entertainment. Like I used to chase reggae music. I used to chase the entertainment world to the point that I was not in my own children's life, not at least as frequently as I could be. I could have been. You know what I'm saying? And I know one or two of them are still a little angry and upset with me, which is all right. That's their walk. This is what they had to go through. I had to go through that with my own father. When he wasn't in my life, I had to go through the same thing. But when it came down to it, at the end of the day, I had to forgive my father. Because if I did not forgive my father, I would not be here today. I had to forgive my father and move on. And I've told this story before. And, Joy probably going to be shocked at this. Joy Redwood, who happens to be a cousin of my father, my cousin's father. But I went to kill my father. People don't know this. I went to kill and take my father's life at the age of 15 with a German Luger with a 15 shooter with 15 shots inside of it. And as I was walking up towards Flatbush on Avenue D, when I was living over at that area, on Avenue D, I was walking up Flatbush at 15 years old with a German Luger tucked in my side, walking plain and calm. People don't understand. I almost took my father's life. I walked, and he lived towards Empire, and I made a mistake and walked towards Reese Beach and walked towards Kings Plaza till I walked myself until the time. So it wasn't a mistake. It was not a mistake. It was not a mistake for me to walk the other way because I didn't really know where he lived. I did not know where he lived. And I walked the other way. And I walked myself until I was tired. Then I found my way going back home at 15 because I didn't know where he lived. I just knew he lived on Flatbush Avenue in some high towers. I never even had the address. I just knew but the spirit took me that way. So it meant I was not supposed to kill my father. That's what it meant. So instead of taking my own father's life, yes, Cousin Joy, yes. But he already knows we went through this. We've healed through this and all that stuff because Daddy was not in my life. And a lot of us men and women are going through daddy not being their issues or daddy not being their lessons. Let me say lessons. I'm not going to say issues no more. It's a lesson and a blessings. And if you get the lessons, you'll get the blessings out of it. So it's not an issue to me. It's not an issue anymore. It was a lesson because I was determined to take my father's life because of part of the story that I heard. Because I heard he was this type of person and he was that type of person from my mother's side. Not really my mother, but from the, the women in my mother's side and all that, because that was predominantly a woman, strong woman family. And I don't fault them at all because every one of them on my mother's side went through trauma and hurt. Every one of them went through trauma and hurt. Every one of them went through molestation or some type of abuse at some time on my mother's side. So obviously the cycle keeps on coming and they keep on rehashing it at that time when we was young. So if you see the young man that's coming out of my mother's womb looking like that man that did the abuse or looking like any of the men in the family on my mother's side that did any abuse, of course the women on that side of the family is going to talk bad about him. Of course, that happens. That is human nature, but it's a lesson and there's a blessing in it. If they had gotten the lesson, they would not have talked the way they did, speak the way about my father, where it developed an animosity against him to the point that I wanted to take his life. And it wasn't even my gun. It was a friend of mine's gun. And he didn't even, the friend that gave me the weapon to shoot my father did not even know that I was going to do it. He lent it to me to keep it at my house at that time, to secure it because his house was too hot. And I just said, okay, I got it. No problem. Not knowing that that's what I was planning on doing, taking out my father. But now in hindsight, I'm able to analyze what has happened. I'm able to break down the whole scenario. I was able to hear my father's side of the story, and his sister told me and all that. What's so funny? And Joy is going to say, wow, one of my father's stepsister, because she was really Uncle Curly's sister, her name was Carmela. Her name is Carmela. And Carmela, I went to Carmela's house. And I sat at Camilla's, my Aunt Camilla's dining room table. And I asked her, did my father love me? And did my father and mother love me? And I remember that so vividly. I sat there and asked her. And she said, oh my God, no, they loved you. They loved you so much. But because of the past pain that both my mother and father had from my mother not being raised with her mother, and she had the pains of not being with her mother, and then my father being raised with not having his father on his side of the family, both of them were raised by single parents. And because of that pain of single parents, my mother and father did not know how to love their children, didn't really know how to teach their children and guide their children. And they said that to us in a meeting at the end of the time. Right after I did that, I wrote my father, moving forward, I wrote my father a letter. And I wrote that letter in red ink. Now, anybody who knows ancient history about red ink, and when you write or sign anything in red ink, it represents blood. It was a blood signature I wrote. And I know he was surprised because him being a former Marine understand what red ink signatures are all about. It was all about blood because it was a lot of sweat and blood dealing with not having a father in my life and not knowing if my mother loved me either. Because my mother's a person, and most Caribbean people or people from down south, most Caribbean people down south, but most Caribbean people, they will love you from what they did for you. That's their form of love. A lot of the old school people is like, I did this for you. That's when I showed you my love. That was my form of love. My mother could hardly hug me. She wasn't a hugger. I hardly remember my mother saying, I love you. only in cards, and of course, providing for me and my sister for years to years to years to years, providing for me and my sister on my mother's side. I only have one sister, but on my father's side, I have more brothers and sisters. But only in cards on birthdays and holidays when I seen "Love Ma" or "Love you, Ma." So I had an inkling that my mother loved me, but it was hard for her to say it because of her pain and how she got hurt and how she got molested by uncles and people on her job, because my mother was a very beautiful woman and still is. She was I wish I had one of her old pictures. She was a very beautiful pictures. She had a very beautiful person with the cheekbones, the defined cheekbones, that she could have been a model. She has definitely loved to sing, and she just had this happy-go-lucky attitude. She's born on the 21st of the month. So those people born on the 21st, that 2 and 1 is a 3, they always have this jovial spirit, and people will take advantage of a jovial spirit. People will take advantage of somebody that's always happy, happy-go-lucky. So my mother, on the edge of that stick, she got the bad edge of the stick in certain parts of her life. I don't know all of it. I will probably never know all of it because she keeps a lot to herself. But a lot of the stuff and a lot of the trauma that my mother and my father have felt came into me and my sisters and my father's other siblings without them knowing, because that's why people don't realize that saying in the scriptures, or that saying in the biblical theology, the sins of the father shall fall upon the child to the 3rd and 4th generation, is not just a biblical saying. It is a scientific saying also, because it's in the DNA, it's in the genetics. Now it's time for us, in order for us to at least reverse it or break the cycle, we have to constantly bombard our minds with positive affirmation and positive thought patterns of different types of love, or reassuring of love in different ways. And sometimes that can be detrimental to somebody, because sometimes people are trying to find love in that man or love in that woman because they're trying to find their mother again, or they're trying to find their father again, or what they didn't get from their father or their mother. And yes, it passed through me because I treated my own children, a majority of my children, the same way, till I had to get a grip on it. It's not until I started studying numerology and astrology and the other sciences that the so-called religious community prevented us from having. It's not until I studied those GPS, because it is a GPS. It is a guidance. It's just like any scripture. It's just like any map. That's all numerology and astrology is. Do not let these Europeans like King James and the rest of these writers of these books and translators of the books take you away from your universal connection. Because astronomy, astrology, and numerology helps you to connect with your creator universally and understand your connection with the creator. Because every one of us came through our mother's womb at a specific time and specific date, whether you know it or not. Whether you didn't or not, because there's a cycle that goes on in life, even if you didn't have time. Like my grandfather, he was born in 1909, and they're still figuring out what was he born on the 9th or the 12th. But by the way he acted, I can tell that he was born on the 9th. I could tell he was born on the 9th by studying this science. So we celebrate his birthday on the 9th. And then when it came down, when it came down to it, when they finally found his records, they said he was born on the 12th. But because he's been celebrating his birthday on the 9th so long, he took on the energy of the number 9 and became a universal loving person. My grandfather on my mother's side, Papa, and my cousin Joy, who's on the line from Jamaica, knows who that Mas Hamilton, they used to call him. He raised 3 daughters without the mother. That is universal love. He took every time my grandmother on my mother's side had a baby, she just dropped the baby off and gave it and ran about her business. So he was a single parent father back in those days, to 3 daughters, and he had his sisters. I think he had 4 or 5 sisters that helped to raise these children. So my grandfather was a single parent father, and I wish that I had taken on that energy of his to be able to handle my children the way I wanted to handle. Instead, I chased entertainment. I chased religious organizations and left and did all kind of foolishness in entertainment, and still came out leaving entertainment because I found out that it was an illusion. It was an illusion. It was just for my ego to be satisfied in the entertainment. If I wasn't helping nobody and I was just effing women and doing and being a womanizer and doing the stuff that my father did or my grandfather did before him on my father's side, because my father and my grandfather before him was womanizers. Just what it is. It was in the bloodline. So I had to recognize this and study my father, and I had to study my grandfather. I know Joy would remember Sticky. That's my grandfather Sticky, Grandpapa Sticky, Granville Risden. That's my father's father. Apparently, they say they said he has 8 children, but according to legend, some people said he had 31 children. I don't know. I don't know which one it is. I hope he comes to me in my dream and tell me which it is. But I heard it was 31, and then they narrowed it down to 8. It is what it is. I don't know. But that's my Granville Sticky Risden was my father's father. And I didn't even get his last name. And that was crazy. But what is so interesting, again, getting back to what I was saying, it's a lesson and a blessings that we have to learn to understand and take, because there are no mistakes. I did not make any mistakes. I just lived my life out the way I was supposed to be until I got it and say, you know what? I'm not supposed to be doing that no more. You're living your life the way you're supposed to, until you get that lessons to turn it into a blessing, or it can become a curse. It's totally up to you. It is totally up to you, the individual. You know, all my children are born with everything that they need. From the time, just like birds, just like tigers, just like every species on earth, they're born with everything that they have to, everything that they need to survive or thrive in this world, in this realm, in this hell. Some think it's a heaven at a certain point because you have a certain amount of money and all that kind of stuff. But really, as we are born, we are thriving or striving or surviving to get the hell out of here. Because as we come out of the womb, we're on the way to death. There's a transformation that has to, and I'm not afraid of death, so I understand. So, family, I came on here to talk about the lessons and blessings of life that I had to endure and what I went through in my life. You know, and I went through a lot of it. Believe me, this is my book, No Promotion is Bad Promotion. I just revised it, added some more stuff, but my autobiography is going to pull out a lot of stuff. It has to pull out a lot of stuff. But once again, family, just remember, if you are angry with somebody in your family or angry with somebody, it doesn't make any difference. It doesn't make any difference. Forgive, move on. I didn't say forget. Forgive, learn from the lessons that you went through with that family member or that friend, and take the blessings of it and move on. Like my sister said, my sister Nicole Brown, who used to be a radio personality on Kiss FM, and now she works at another Christian radio station called WMCA, and she's doing her own business. She's tired. I'm tired also. She's not the only one that's tired. I am tired. And it's time to release. It's really time to release and let go. And what the old saying is, let God, or let whatever creation or whatever you believe in or whatever let it carry you into your blessings because you learned the lesson. Let it carry you into your blessings because you learned the lesson. Forgive and move on. Everything is connected. Everything connected. Even this so-called European that came out of the mountains, they had to show us something. They had to reveal to us. They had to reveal to us what's the worst part of us can be, what the worst a human being can be. They had to come out of the mountains of Europe and Caucasus Mountains to reveal what the worst human being could be on earth. And no doubt about it, Europeans, I don't care if you're watching, y'all ancestry and the people that are destroying the water, the people that are destroying the air, the people that are destroying all the different spheres, people that are destroying the universe, y'all are sending garbage up to the sending garbage and leaving garbage out in the solar system and into the universe. Y'all are burying garbage into the earth. Y'all are destroying the earth. Yes, Europeans are doing that. So they are an enemy to the earth. They've proven themselves over and over. Yes, black on black crime. There's Chinese on Chinese crime. There's white on white crime. But there is 1% of this European that is doing some damn. And I don't hate them. I'm gonna let you know I don't hate them. I hate what they've done. I hate what they've done. I don't hate them because there's an energy in them that still belongs to the universal energy that I have to understand it. I don't care what nobody say. I have to understand it, and I have to say I'm not going to do what they do and still rise to a higher level. I'm not caught up on a lot of this stuff. My cousin, I went to go bless my cousin. I just went to see my cousin Salih and Duma. My cousin Joy will know them as Andre and Robin. I just went to go and see those two from born in Jamaica, and they live here. We've lived here most of our life, and we all grew up in and out of Jamaica. But my cousin started talking to me about what do I believe is life, because it was my cousin that Duma that used to be on 125th Street. He can't really walk anymore like he used to, but he's still moving and doing his thing. But his nerves are shot on the bottom from his legs. But he's really trying to do what he can do with for himself. And he looked like he's cognizant. He knows what things. He knows what he's talking. He's all like that. So I'm glad for Duma, and his brother and his sister is taking care of him. Trudy and Robin is taking care of him. So he asked me something today. And I went to visit him because I like to keep in touch with the family. I'm the one in my family that keeps the link between my father and my mother's side. My sister and them, they hardly go and visit that side. But I keep the link by visiting them at least every once a month to say, because they still live in the house that my grandmother built, and they're still there, and they're still connected to my father's side. And my mother still talks to my father. So they're best of friends. So beautiful thing. But my cousin Duma is a Nuwapian, and he's been a Nuwapian, an Ansar. He's been part of the whole dynamics that Dr. York or Imam Isa has transitioned, has passed down from Islam all the way down. Duma is the one that brought me into the temple. Duma is the one that brought me into the temple of the Ansarullah community back in 1984-85. That's when I was introduced to the Ansarullah community after the 5% Nation. 5% Nation under Allah or Clarence 13X, that was the one I was under first. And then it was because of the living and because of my cousins that introduced me to the knowledge of the Ansarullah community under Imam Isa al-Hadi al-Mahdi, now known as Dr. Malachi Kobino York. So he said something to me that I shocked him when I respond, because I'm usually one that just listens to them because they're the ones that taught me. They're the ones that guided me. They're the ones that when my cousins seen me come to Jamaica in my Islamic regalia and all that kind of stuff, when they seen me come to Jamaica with all my stuff, it was Duma or Andre and Robin that brought me into Islam and helped save my life, because either I was going to end up in jail or dead the way I was carrying on with guns and all that stuff. That was the age of 16 and 17. Remember, I just told you that I tried to kill my father at 15, so I was carrying guns from 15. And then they introduced me to more information and knowledge, because I was still in the 5%, but I was studying the lessons, knowing my stuff and all that. But, sometimes some of the brothers in the 5%, they want to drink, smoke, and do all the kind of craziness. But the real upright and standing brothers I respect, because a lot of them went to the Nation of Islam and stood up. But yes, right. I am a glue to the family. I'm one of the glues to the family. You're right. However, now, Duma said, what does life mean to me? I said life in this realm means it's just about learning and me transitioning and moving on to the next. That's all it is to me now. I'm not under no religious orders. I'm not under no religious scare tactics. I'm not under no biblical or Quranic scare tactics. I'm not under none of that stuff that's going to bring trauma in my mind to think, oh, if I don't do this, I'm going to hell. Oh, if I don't go to no. I don't espouse to that stuff anymore. I understand this cause and effect. Thanks to people like Brother Panic and Bobby Hemmett and all the spiritual knowledge people, I understand that there's cause and effect. If you do certain things, you cause certain things, there's going to be effect that comes back to you. Okay? If you cause certain injuries or certain problems and traumas in people's life, there's going to be effect. And believe me, I've had the effect because it comes back to me real quick. But if you do good towards people and all that kind of stuff and do positive things, then the positive effect will come back. So it's just cause and effect. Stay focused, people. I'm not caught up in biblical stuff because every biblical text and every Quranic text come from other texts. It comes from other compilations of stuff, and then they put it together and then gave it to us and call it this versions and King James versions and Norton's version and Jehovah Witness version. And then you got the Quran that has Abdul Ali version and Maulana Muhammad Ali version and this version and that version. The only versions I used to listen to was musical versions. I don't need all my scriptures coming to me different ways and different kinds of places. The only scriptures now that I bear witness is to universal scriptures, universal law, because the law is always in effect. Nobody can stop your blood from running but you, if you start clogging up your blood. Nobody can stop your breathing. Nobody can stop you, because if you stop your breathing, which is a universal law of which in this realm to breathe, you stop it for at least a few minutes, you probably die. You'll die. Let's be real. If you stop eating after a certain amount of time, a certain amount of days, you can starve yourself to death. It can happen. There's a universal law. The organs are still working universally. Your eyes are still working universally. The air is still providing breath and breathing and in and out technique and apparatus of breathing in air and out comes the carbon monoxide and everything working in order. I believe in universal order. That's what I believe in. And it's already been set in place. It's been set in place for millions of years. So if you go against the universal order, then you will get the repercussion of it. If you're eating bad, the things that's going to clog up your system to cause diabetes and cause all kinds of health issues is because you've gone against universal order. Simple as that. Simple as that. But we're not paying attention. So when I said that to my cousin, he was kind of stumped because usually my cousin is a talker and he knows how to run his mouth about the Nuwapian and the teachings of Dr. York. When anything that Doc taught or any religious leader, anybody, it's all universal. It all comes, you can research it and find that they studied and researched it themselves and then put their books together. Once you realize that, then you're free. That's why have no religion and have all of them come. Possess nothing and have everything. Possess nothing. Possess nothing is possess. I can't possess nothing because at the end of the day, I can't take this with me. This is gone. This goes to the dirt. And I like what Denzel Washington said. Denzel Washington clearly said, there is no U-Haul that follows behind a hearse. He says Egyptians have tried it and they got robbed. I'm glad the Egyptians did it or the Commissions did it because now we know our history. Do we have to do the same thing again? No, we don't really have to do the same thing. They already did it already. We don't have to do the same thing again. People already know who we are. They already know what we're capable of. They already know we are kings and queens. Now, what are we going to do greater than the Kemetan? The people that built Timbuktu, the people that built Luxor, what are we going to do greater? We going to keep that moving because it was the Dogons that taught about us actually leaving here and going to our true haven, not heaven, our haven, which is out there in the universe. How many of you look at the stars? How many of y'all look at the moon? How many of y'all look at a star and say, yo, Why is this star always in my face? Why is this particular star I'm always connecting to? Why am I always looking at the moon? Why do I always look at the sun? Maybe because you're from it. Maybe that's where you're from. That's why you look at it. Maybe that's where you're from. Every time we look at the star, it says in their scriptures that our people will be numbering the stars. Our people will number sand on the beach. Maybe we're from the universe. And this is only a confinement. Now, this is not to tell anybody to take their life and all that. That's punking out. I almost did that 3 times. That's punking out. No. Get your blessings, get your lessons, and live with proper intentions. Get your lessons, get your blessings, and live in proper intentions. From the intentions of heart, because your sins or you will be judged by a featherweight. That's what Ma'at is all about. You will be judged by a featherweight. Universal law will judge you by a featherweight of your deeds here on this planet called Earth, which is the learning center. So get your lessons, get your blessings, and do what you have to do with proper intentions, and you will be successful. You will be successful. You will be successful. You will be successful. All of us have gone through mama issues or daddy issues. And like I said, I have transposed some of this mama issues and daddy issues to my own children, till I have to apologize. But I always tell them, look, even if you don't forgive me, if none of my daughters forgive me, or if none of my sons forgive me, at least I forgive myself. Because I'm trying. I'm not perfect in this realm, but I'm striving to be perfect as I go on and get older and become a better person than I was in the club life, effing sisters and womanizing and doing the crazy stuff. Matter of fact, I see my daughter's mother online. What's up, Marcia? Tell her to call me, because she call me. Text Sasha to call me. I see my daughter's mother on the line. What's up, Mars? Big up to you all the time. And I know it hurts my children. I know it hurts. And particularly, I've had an estranged relationship with my daughters, because what happened, I've experienced so much hurt in my mother's side of the family with women that I was afraid to get close to my own daughters. Cycle. It's a cycle. I've experienced so much hurt. My mother didn't know how to say she loved me. She only wrote it in cards, or she did for us. She provided food. She cooked for us. I didn't know how to say that enough to my own children. I didn't even know how to connect with my daughters, to the point that one of them don't even talk to me. I've been trying. I try to reach out. I'm not talking about our daughter, Marcia. I'm talking about Brianna. I've been trying to reach out. I asked me and Marcia's daughter to reach out for. I asked Adam to reach out. She's gonna have to come at her own time. I did the same thing. I came to my father at my own time. Everything is a season. Everything is a cycle. So when it's time for them, I'm not gonna be on my deathbed when they come. I'm gonna be standing up straight and strong and built and body still tight. I don't care what age they come to me, because my grandfather, he passed on at the age of 103, and he was still walking before he got sick. So he's still walking at the age of 103, still walking and doing gardening. So I got that bloodline. Look at these. Look at my handprint. Look at my lifeline. Look how thick and dark that lifeline is. Oh, I'm here for the long haul. I'm here for you. But I'm gonna live my life positive. And when my children are ready to really talk to me, like my other sons, one of my sons just talked to me, a former Marine, I ain't gonna tell his business, but he gave me some stuff that would have knocked the father down. But because I'm in a new headspace than I was 20 years ago or 30 years ago, or how old is he? He's about 25. Or when he was 20 something years old, he's 20 something years old, but I'm in a different headspace. I don't think like that anymore, because you're supposed to grow and be better. So what they come with me, whatever they say to me, whatever my children say to me, I can handle it because I went through it with my own father. So I learned from the lessons, and my father, became a better person with his third wife. I got to commend that sister, because that third wife of his is the one that got him into the rehab. I was the one that probably pushed him over the edge to go to the rehab, but it was his third wife who was a Christian. And I got to big up Christians. And that's why I respect Christians. I respect Christians. I respect all religions. I respect Muslims. I respect this so-called Christian society, because they still have institutions that you can go to and get rehab, go through rehabilitation. Most of these rehabilitation places are Christian owned. And my father went to a rehab center and got rehabbed out of drugs and what he was going through. And that's the important part of it. And now he's still alive. I didn't kill him, like I said earlier in this video, that I went to go and shoot him. I had a 15 shooter Luger to go kill my father. I was going to go kill him. And the spirit told me to walk the other way until I was tired. Till I was tired. And instead of walking to him, I just started asking questions of his family members and people around me to find out, did my father love me? And come to find out, he was very much in love with me. It's just that in his time, in his era, people got to remember, my father used to own his own nightclub. My father was a paramedic at the hospital. He was younger than my mother, about four years younger. So my mother was a cougar back in the day, but I'm joking. But 4 years younger is not cougar. 10 and 15 years is cougar. But 4 years younger than my mother. He was in the club life. He just came out of the Marines. He was a paramedic. Gals throwing themselves at him, all women throwing themselves all at him, all at different places and different intervals at the party while my mother's at work. And my mother really wasn't a party animal. She loved dance. She loved good music, but she wasn't a party animal like that, because she seen what it did to him, seen what was going on with him. We had a club in our basement, and I mean, my father got the woman across the street allegedly pregnant, and the woman down the street him dealt with, and the woman up the yard them deal with. Why my mother gonna work? So I'm doing this, and I'm saying this because I'm writing my autobiography, and I'm going to listen back to this. And this is one of my chapters in my autobiography, When the Late Bell Rang. And I hope everybody will support it out there. It's called When the Late Bell Rang. That's the name of it. I named it When the Late Bell Rang because it was a late bell from school. Now, if anybody remember the schools in New York, that anytime you were late to go to class, or when that class was now in session, the bell would ring. So one time I was caught outside of the school when the bell rang in my PS. I was a little boy cutting school. First time I ever cut school. So when that late bell rang, I never forget, to this day, that bell said, I never forget the sound of that bell. So when the late bell rang, I could not go back at school. I could not learn my lesson. I could not go in there and so I had to make up a story. I had to go and go back to my mother. I mean, it was crazy. And I was a little child. And you know, when the late bell rang, I got nervous. My heart started pounding because I could not go into the school. So the story starts just like that. Starts from that point in my life at PS 11. Those who know what PS 11 is, off of Waverly Avenue, I went to PS 11 after I left 316 over there in Brooklyn. PS 11, Biggie Smalls went there after me, and my sister went there. A lot of some interesting people went to PS 11. So I went to PS 11. So it's so important. So important. Before I get off, we're going into the month of August, family. Let me break down some stuff real quick. The month of August. Coming out of this beautiful month of July, I had a very revealing month. In this number 7 month was a lot of revelations to me, because 7 represents secrets coming to light. 7 represents the 7th month. In the 7th month, this is a 7th universal month for a universal month as far as the calendar is concerned, but it definitely represents revelations, or things being revealed to you. And believe me, I got a lot of revelatory stuff that came to me from my family and from my sister and my sons and all of that. I want to thank first and foremost people like Queen Neat. Gotta thank Queen Neat. Y'all may know her as Alicia Queen Neat Kair. She definitely is a great reader. And if you can, make sure you support that sister. Go to her website, healatlanta.com. She's a great reader with them pendulums, and she knows how to do. She is really a natural reader at this. Not only she has a life path of a number 7, but she helped me to bring out some stuff out of my son that I needed, and we needed to do certain things to heal each other. We needed to heal each other. Me and my son had to cry it out, talk it out, and heal it out. So I love him. Jalil, you know I love you. Shia, Prince Imagine, you know I love you. Jordan, Kalfani, Tariq, my daughters, Brianna, Ashley, Yasira, know that I love you. It's record. Matter of fact, all my books is in your name. So when I transition anytime, because I'm doing universal books, doing universal children's books, universal numerology books, I'm doing universal promotion books, because I'm doing those things, all proceeds go back to my children when I transition. And remember, universal laws and principles will never be destroyed. Universal laws and principles will never be destroyed. So they will always, if they know how to revise and all that stuff, they will always have funds for them. Because this is called printing or producing your own book is called generational wealth. And you're passing it on from generation to generation. Printing these books, and I want you to do it out there too. Print your own books. Galvanize and get your generational wealth on. We should not be leaving our legacy poor or with disenfranchised, without no funds or nothing like that. That's why I write. That's why I write, because it's all about generational wealth. That's why I got these books. These are Dr. Africa writes, because this is about generational wealth. Generational wealth. And because we're going into an 8th month, the 8 months represents entrepreneurship, ancestors. It represents respecting your elders or connecting with a responsible elder that can guide you. This is what generally the 8th represents, but it represents money, power, but also there's a duality. It represents the loss of money, the loss of power also. It also represents the loss in relationships if you're not careful, because the number 8 is a number of discipline, and we're all going into this 8th month of August, which is a number of discipline. So you got to discipline yourself. Generally, anywhere, I don't care what you're born under. If you're in the 8th month for the next 31 days, it's all about discipline yourself on how to handle money, how to handle your elders, how to handle your health, how to handle relationships with not just the physical world, but the spiritual world. Very important that you understand what 8 represents. And many might say, oh, it looks like infinity, but no, it's not infinity. Infinity is different than the 8. 8 is 2 zeros on top of each other. Infinity is the sideways. It looks like an 8, but it's actually infinitely going and coming. But the 8 is 2 0, one going one way, the other going one. That's why in the nations of gods and earth, they say it's called build and destroy. That's why in the nation of the gods and earth, the 5% nation, they say it's called build and destroy. It's in my book too. Numbers are simple, people are complicated. Build and destroy. So either you could be a builder in this number 8 month, or you could be a destroyer in this number 8 month. And guess what? The effects of the number 8 month comes in at the end of July. 7 days, 7 to 8 days, 7 days prior to August, it comes in at the end of July. So if you're breaking up in relationships or going through, there's different destruction of relationships, and certain things are you're going through certain things with your family or friends. That's the end of July going in. And then, of course, we're in retrograde too. Oh, Lord, we're in retrograde. People don't understand the universal science of retrograde. Now, when in retrograde, family, And I got a good post from a sister that sent it to me, and I'm going to read what you should be mindful of when in retrograde, because retrograde could be a beautiful thing if you handle the energy right. This retrograde is when it appears that the planet is going another way, another direction. But I'm not going to get into that. I'm just going to explain. My strength is in numerology, but I'm going to explain what this person is saying. Now, in Mercury retrograde, everybody should focus on using your intuition. And retrograde is going all the way till August 18th. Retrograde is going all the way till August 18th. So focus on using your intuition rather than your logics. Your gut feelings, your intuition is one of the most powerful awakening source that you have to make you aware of people, places, and things, or people that might be your enemies, or people that might be true friends. Your intuition has it for you. Don't be logical too much. Use your intuition during Mercury retrograde. The next thing, looking at problems or issues from a new perspective and with a new understanding. Each one of us during the retrograde season should look at problems and issues with a new eye. Look at it from the third eye, not just always the physical eye. Look at it from the third eye and have a newer understanding. Be empathetic. Put yourself in the other person's shoe. Put yourself in the other person's shoe. Why is that person acting away? Why are they miscommunicating? Why that person just ran your ass off the road or tried to run your ass off the road? Maybe they're going through something. Maybe something is happening in their life. You, as the master of your destiny, needs to understand these different cycles that come about, especially things like retrograde and all the planets retrograding and all that kind of stuff. You need to understand these things. I understand it from a mathematical perspective, from a numerological perspective. That's why I'm telling you, as you're going into the 8, be mindful of building and be mindful of destroying. Either you're going to build for your legacy and your future, for your generation to come, or you're going to destroy it because of your arrogance and ignorance and all that foolishness that may come up because of past issues with mommy and dad. A lot of old stuff is going to pop up in your life too. That's how it happens in the number 8 months. Old people, old friends, old bills. And people going through number 8 years, or people in their 8 personal year, or people born in the number 8, pay attention. People born under number 8, number 17, or the number 26, pay attention. Also, when dealing with Mercury retrograde, being flexible, especially when traveling, double check all details. I had an experience as we was going into the shadows of the Mercury retrograde. I left on time because I was depending on somebody to drive me to the bus stop in North Carolina. And I won't mention my ex-wife's name. I won't mention that. But I was depending, but I knew she was tired. So I made sure I set my clock at least an hour and a half before. So just in case she wouldn't answer the phone, I would be ready. I would call the Uber or call the Lyft and get there on time. And guess what? This is what happened. Show you how retrograde was working. I was going, the bus driver, the Lyft driver name is Cameron. Cameron came to pick me up. Cameron came to pick me up in one of these small little cars, and I had to pack my stuff in the back of his seat. But Cameron came to pick me up, and his GPS told him to go to another direction, another bus route, another bus place, a bus depot. I was taking the Chinese bus. So Cameron drives to this other bus depot, and I said, wait a minute, this is not the bus depot that I sent you, because he was one of the new drivers that came in because the other driver was too further out. He was the other driver was 15 minutes out, so they switched the driver in Lyft and sent me Cameron, who was 8 minutes away. Boom, he came in, he still had the address. He had a different address than what I sent him. Boom, he takes me over to this place where the Chinese bus is, the Panda bus, the Panda Chinese bus was. But the Panda bus, when I said, hold on, I told him, don't leave. I'm not taking my bags out of this car yet. Communications now. This is where Mercury retrograde is. And I'm glad I left on time. We go over to Panda. Panda says, no, your bus is on Route 35 off of Route 35, and it's just a few minutes away. Boom! This brother drove the car. I put on my GPS. He put on his GPS. Took us right to the address. And by the time I got there, my bus was there. Was just pulling in. So this is because I was acting on the higher vibration of Mercury retrograde. So I left on time. And even though I went through all that drama with Cameron to get to one bus, went to another bus area, but we still got on time so I can load my bus to come to New York. That's how you got to work. So be flexible, especially when traveling. Double check all details. That's real talk. Double check all details. Double check all details. Double check all detail. Yes, baby, I know you was asleep. Look at my ex-wife is here too. Hotep, girl. Hotep. She said I was asleep. I know you fell asleep, baby. I knew you fell asleep. And I knew you was tired. You deal with children, you deal with grandchildren. No, I know you was tired. That's why I made sure as a man, and because I was in Mercury retrograde, and we was right in it, right there. Boom, I had to call my own Uber. So yes, darling, thank you very much. I forgive you, girl. I knew you was tired. We went to the movies. We went and hung out, had dinner. You know, we don't do that. Matter of fact, we never did that. We was in a community. We never did that in our life. But it was an honor hanging out with you for that brief moment before I left town. And proud of you for doing what you're doing. She has a great store. Anytime y'all go to North Carolina, make sure you check out Hotep Amunet Ray. Her store is beautiful. She even gives away free food from Trader Joe's every Friday. So make sure you go down there. North Carolina, Charlotte, North Carolina. Just write down the address to your store on my comment section, Amunet. Write down the address to your store so people can see that. But let's continue with the retrograde breakdown. Ensuring your hard drive, smartphone, tablets, etc. are all fresh backups. Remember, let your phone back up. Back up your pictures. Back up stuff you don't want to lose, because during retrograde, this thing can happen. You can lose all types of stuff. So make sure you back up your hard drive, or make sure you buy a hard drive that you can back up all your stuff from your computer. You know, I'm here talking and I didn't even do that, but I have backed them up into flash drives. So, you know, but I need a hard drive. I have to invest in that. Getting a tune up before heading off on the road. Check your car, check your vehicle, because Mercury deals with travel and communication. It's also connected to the number 5. So you're always on the positive of number 5. You have to be flexible. I'm in my number 5 years. That's why I'm able to be flexible. I'm able to be flexible in my number 5 year. My 5 personal years showing me that I had to be flexible. So I was flexible. I've been traveling a lot. Everybody know I was in Arizona earlier this year. I was in Colorado, and I've been in New Orleans, and I'm doing all these different type of travel in my number 5 year, because these are my traveling years. So I'm doing a lot of that travel because I understand the mathematics of it and the frequency of it. And that's why I'm using it to the best of my abilities, because I'm reading my own numbers. My calendar looks totally different than anybody else. Y'all might think today is the 31st of July. To me, it's not the 31st of July, because this is my 3 personal month. 31st is a number 4, so 3 plus 4 is a 7. So this is my 7 personal day. So I got number 7 up here like, yo, I know what day I'm in. It was a peaceful, quiet, research-oriented day. A little bit travel because of some spiritual stuff that I had to do, some spiritual studies that I had to do. And that's what once you know your personal days and your personal months, which I can help you with if you did a consultation with me, your calendar will not look like the same calendar. Tomorrow, August the 1st, is not August the 1st for me. That's how deep it is. Actually, tomorrow is going to be my number 4 month, plus that number 1 day, which equals a number 5, my 4 personal month tomorrow, August, and I'm going into my, it's going to be my number 1, August the 1st. So that 4 plus the 1 day, the number 1 day is a 5. So it deals with flexibility. It deals with writing down my ideals and expanding on my thoughts and promotion. So I will be doing a lot of online promotion. I'll be doing some emails and sending out some stuff, doing my stuff. See, once I vibrate and work with the energies of the universe and the mathematical energies of the universe, things work out real well for me all the time since I've been getting really into my stuff. Really, if I'm going to talk it, I'm going to make it happen. Polite said that to me one time. Polite said that. And Polite is a numerologist. Don't let Polite fool you. Brother Polite is a numerologist. He has a book on numerology. Where is that? He has a book on numerology. Where's that book at? It's here, solar numerology. He said, what is the use of knowing all this astrology and these numerologists and all that kind of stuff and not making it work for you? And that's what I've done. Make it work for me. That's what it does. So getting back into the Mercury retrograde, I want to make sure we get all this. Getting a tune up before heading off on the road. Creativity, paint, draw, dance, read, write, and make some music. That's good. Uh-oh, people, man, I must have overloaded this thing. My goodness. Okay, Instagram just dropped, so it's all right. It's all right. But I know Facebook is still up. We're still doing our Facebook. All right. Hey, Paula D'Souza, great info. Would love to have a new D'Souza. You know, my uncle name is D'Souza, you know, but he's a D'Souza from out of Jamaica, Paula. If you want to get a numerology reading from me, just text me your first name, your date of birth. Text me your first name, your middle name, and your last name, and your date of birth, your full date of birth with the year, to 347-496-1022. I just left a D'Souza's house, and my cousin spelled D'Souza's the same way. And I know my uncle, I don't know if he's your father, but my uncle was a Rolling Stone. So my Uncle Rudolph, he has 24 or 25 children. So Uncle Rudolph D'Souza has about 25 children, my uncle. And that's my uncle. And I just came from his children's house in Brooklyn, and he has 3 children out here. But I'm telling you that D'Souza spelled the same way. And I know it comes from out of Portugal. That name is a Portugal name and all that. I know the history of the D'Souza name, or D'Souza, or D'Souza. So, but my cousin spelled the same name, same way you spell your name, Paula, the same way that. I don't know if you're related to my uncle there, because my uncle has been around the world. He's been around the world. And I can't find my uncle. He's something else. Put it like that. But let me finish with this retrograde stuff, okay? Doing retrograde, focus on creativity, paint, draw, dance, read, write, make music, which Mercury is connected to the number 5, which is a number of creativity, which is a number of expansion on multiple levels, not just one. That's why it says paint, draw, dance, read, write, make music. Also reorganizing, reviewing, and reflecting. Yes, because it's a communication, can be a communication breach. This is a good time to reorganize yourself. Review everything around you, reorganize your papers, your books, and all that. Review everything that's going on in your life and what to make it better, and reflecting on certain things, your past decisions in relationship, past decisions in business. And sign no major contracts during this time either. Sign no major contracts during Mercury retrograde. Stop playing. Slowing down, meditation, and journaling about your thoughts, your inner thoughts. Very important around Mercury retrograde, because it's a time to be flexible and use your flexibility, not just to go outwardly, but to go inwardly. I don't care where you're living on in this planet Earth. Go inwardly, not just outwardly, but understand the balance of all things. Accepting that there may be frustration, redos, delays, miscommunication, and meltdowns. These things can happen during a Mercury retrograde. Meltdowns can happen during a Mercury retrograde. Meltdowns and miscommunication can happen during Mercury. And me and my sister Nicole, we had a little misunderstanding. I actually had to apologize to her. After I calmed down, I made sure I calmed. I slept on it, thought about it all night, then talked to Alicia. I talked to Queen Neat, and Queen Neat, one thing about Queen Neat, she a number 9. So number 9 say what they mean and mean what they say. It is what it is. So she told me, Simon, stop playing. Your sister needs that. She needs that specific, and she needs just apologize for hanging up. And, you know, me and my sister went back into our past. What happened? Annette, what's up, girl? Good to see you. Matter of fact, we went back in our past. We mentioned Johnny and Sophia Stevens, what happened, and all kinds of craziness. A lot of trauma in family, and a lot of people hide this stuff. You know, a lot of people hide this stuff in our family. A lot of people have hidden a lot of stuff, and myself and my sister and my other siblings are still healing from it. And if we don't heal, we're going to pass it on, and which I know I've passed it on to some of my sons and my daughters. And if they don't heal, they're going to keep on passing on. That's why we got to break cycles now. We got to break cycles while we're alive now. There's a lot of trauma inside, especially I'm speaking from a Caribbean perspective because my family is Jamaican and Cuban, and they've hid a lot of stuff, kept a lot of stuff to themselves and didn't want to say whether this person hurt this person, whether this person molested this person, whether this person did this to that person. They didn't want to say this stuff. So it got a lot of us as children to deal with certain things. Yes, Annette, me and my sister had to deal. We've been dealing with some serious stuff in our family for years that we didn't know, that they kept hidden or we kept to ourselves. Even on that block back in our day when we grew up, there's a lot of bull crap we had to, and even yourself, if you look back, you'll see a lot of the crap, in your own family. And I'm not going to get into your business. We know we go back with family. We know me and Annette is family. Me and Annette go back since we was children. So big up to you, Annette. We go back over, I'm 50. Yeah, we go back probably since we was children. Wow. We go back when we was children. I knew your moms. I knew your dad. I know your grandpa. I know everybody. We were all part of each other's family. I used to go to her birthday party. She used to come to my birthday parties. I have pictures of this. We was all family. This, that, and that. Big up to you, Annette, all the time. Love you, girl. Love you. But this whole thing that I spoke on, and we're going in an hour. I'm going to get off right now. I'm going to upload this on YouTube. But it's all about healing. It's all about learning the lessons and getting the blessings from what we went through, from our parents, from our uncles, whatever. I found out some stuff about my uncle when my father told me all this. You know why it hurts me so much as a man, especially when you find out about uncles and the things that they've done and all that. It hurts me as a man because everybody in my family told me to revere these people. Everybody in my family told me to revere and show respect to these people. But yet they're doing, because of their traumas and their hurt, they hurt people. It's like hurt people hurts people. That's a true thing. Hurt people hurts people. So me knowing that my uncle used to hurt people because of his way. Me knowing that my other uncle used to hurt people because of his way. Man, that's what hurt me the most. And guess what? You see that altar back there? I still got them on my altar because I know they went through trauma. I know they went through hurt. This is my altar of respect. Right here, that's my grandmother, Lillian Scotland. I know, Annette, I know you remember my grandma, Lillian, Miss Scotland. That's one of my main loves of my life. Back there in the blue, that's my grandfather who took care of 3 daughters by himself. 3 daughters by himself because his wife, and I love her dearly. This is my grandma, my mother's mother. My mother's mother did not want to keep the children, so she just had the babies and then gave it over to him. But then when I studied her numbers, I found out that she had mental issues in her numbers. And then it was confirmed that she was put into a mental hospital at one time. And I just studied the numbers, and then it was confirmed that she had mental issues and was put into a mental hospital. But I studied her numbers. She was born July 7th. Forgot the years up there somewhere. But that 7 energy always have to protect their mind. 7 people born under the 7 energy and the number 4 energy always got to keep their mind motivated, or they will go into depression or worry themselves until they're sick and depressed. You always have to protect your mind. People born on the 4th of the month, the 7th of the month, or the 13th of the month, or the 22nd of the month, or the 31st of the month, or if you're born on the 7th of the month, the 16th of the month, the 25th of the month, you always have to protect your mind because those are mental numbers. You always have to stay motivated. So I always, in my consultation, tell those people born under the number 4 and 7, connected to that 4, to always listen to motivational speakers, especially early in the morning. Especially early in the morning, because your brain operates on a higher octave early in the morning. on a higher octave. So you always have to listen to motivation, whether it's religious, whether it's affirmation. You got to keep your mind, because what goes in the mind don't come out of the mind. Every smell, everything you've seen in your life is still in your head. It's just that you need to recall. And sometimes the negative things grow stronger in your head, because according to their studies in the United States of America, according to MIT, Massachusetts Institute of Technology, years ago, it takes 16 positive to knock out one negative. It takes 16 positive thoughts to knock out one negative thoughts. So you have to protect your mind. All of us really do, but people connected to that 4 and 7 vibration has to protect their mind, because they hold thoughts in deeply, because those are the thinking vibrational numbers. And people born under the number 4 can attest to that. People born under number 4s can attest to that. People born under number 7 can attest to that. Or people connected to those numbers, whether your name adds up to the number 7, whether you're in the number year 7 or the 7 to 4 month. I can tell you, I can tell you some stuff. Being in my number 4 year, my number 7 year or 7 day or number, because I read all my days. I mean, you know, I'm very meticulous about what I do and how I do things. So, you know, I'm not paranoid. I just like to keep myself order. Some may want to freestyle it, but I freestyle it sometimes. But when I know I'm going, or some type of depression is creeping up on me, I look at the dates, I look at the calendar, I look what year I'm in. And then I say, oh, okay, there it is. Then I reverse it by listening to something positive, or listening to a reggae song that bring up my spirit, or listening to Les Brown, or listening to Tony Robbins, or listening to Eric Thomas, or listen to old school Ayan Van Zandt, or listen to Lisa Nichols, or I listen to people that's going to keep my mind up and mind right. That's important. Now, let me give you some of the don'ts, what to avoid during Mercury retrograde. I'm going to complete. Making any major purchases, negotiating or signing any contracts. Make sure you do not try to avoid it as much as possible. Now, if you was already planned, or you already had set it up before Mercury retrograde came in, this major purchase or negotiating or signing the contract, if you already made the plans before it came in, it'll be a little all right, but we still would say try to avoid making any major purchases, negotiating or signing any major contracts. Also, making life-changing decisions. During Mercury retrograde, because it's one of those cycles that communication can fall and falter, you want to make sure you don't make any life-changing decisions. Now, I'm not going to say if your ass ain't getting whooped, or somebody ain't beating you behind, or somebody trying to kill you, you want to leave and you got to leave. I'm not going to say stay there. If you got to do what you got to do, make it happen. But make sure you dot every I and cross every T. And when you're doing it, don't just do it off of emotion. Do it off of, make sure everything is strategically done. Work with the Mercury retrograde and not against it, if you can. Okay. Also, going on a first date, things may not be as they seem when Mercury retrograde goes direct. So a friend of mine said she just went on a date with somebody, and that date went bananas. So she knows he won't be contacting him anymore, and he won't be contacting her. Simple as that. I'm not going any further with that. Behaving recklessly in a Mercury retrograde, because it's also connected to the 5 energy. Reckless drinking, reckless smoking, reckless sexing can cause issues. So be careful behaving recklessly in Mercury retrograde. Purchasing electronic equipment, especially computers. Yes, computers can go bad in Mercury retrograde. You always got to be careful. Also be careful around number 5, people born on the 5th, the 14th and the 23rd of the month around computers sometimes too. Just want to make sure y'all aware of it. But people that are born on the 5 or connected to the Mercury energy, like Geminis and Virgos, usually this works very well with them, because they're connected to the number 5, which is also connected to Mercury. So usually people born on the 5th, the 23rd, or the 14th of the month, it works very well. Mercury works very well with them, because it may be retrograde, but people born under those numbers or under those signs know how to work it out. They know how to work with it and flow with the energy. It's like Tai Chi. You know how to flow. You know what I'm saying? That's how we flow. So big up to y'all number 5s or people born under Virgo or Gemini during this Mercury retrograde. Arguing or fighting, high propensity for mutual misunderstanding. It's a high propensity for mutual misunderstanding. Arguing or fighting. Try to avoid arguments and fighting during this time. Starting a new job or signing a new lease or buying a new house. That's a major decision. That's a major purchase. So you got to be careful doing Mercury retrograde during that time, because that is a communication number. That is a communication energy. You got to be careful, because it might not pan out right later on because you did it in the Mercury retrograde energy. And like I said earlier, if you was already planning and the date only landed on Mercury retrograde, I always suggest to go with one of your best dates that's equivalent to your birth date or your numbers, because even in the Mercury retrograde, usually that number that you're born under, that you're born under, whether you're born on the 4th, then I would tell you to sign on the 4th of the month, sign on the 13th of the month, the 22nd of the month, or the 31st of the month, because that 4 energy is your energy, and it's a stronger energy to help you become more successful with using those numbers, like the number 4, if you're born on the 4th of the month, of any month, or the 13th, or the 22nd, or the 31st of the month. So, assuming any understanding on another part during this time. Assuming any understanding on another's part during this time. Not a good time to assume, because you'll make an ass out of you and me, or you and the person that you're assuming. So don't assume anything. Make sure you dot every I and cross every T. It's all about clear communications. You might have to repeat yourself with people sometimes in a Mercury retrograde. You might have to repeat yourself 3 times. You might have to, when you're typing or texting, make sure you dot every I, cross every T, and make sure you don't become misunderstood. Launching a new business or putting on a big event. That's why I am not. The last time I did an event in Mercury retrograde, a few people showed up. So I totally understand what that is. And I'm usually a bigger promoter than that. And it was a good event, but it was that people didn't come out. So that's why launching a new business or putting on a big event is a no-go. But if you have established it prior and you've done all the promotion before Mercury retrograde came in, then go for it, because you've already built it up and you've already did it before Mercury retrograde came in. All right. Last but not least, hiding under a rock during this time, which is funny to me. That was comical. Hiding under a rock. You can't run away from the energies of the universe, period. It's just like trying to run away from a tsunami and you're right in it. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I'm just going to stand right there and just, hey, look, it's time to go. It's time to go. Hey, it is what it is. That's what it is. So because according to your scriptures, everything has a time and everything has a season. This is one of those times. This is one of those seasons. You just have to pay attention. It's not about being paranoid, but it's about being able to work with it. What I just told you to focus on, and I'll repost this on my page. As a matter of fact, I'll post it on my page right now so everybody can see it on my Facebook page. I will post it on my Facebook page right now. You can snatch it down, put it down in I'm posting it right now on my Facebook page. I just posted. It's all right. Reload and do it again, I guess. Boom, it's successfully. So I reposted it on my Facebook page. I reposted the do's and the don'ts of Mercury retrograde on my Facebook page. So it's all right. Go and check it out on my Facebook page. Share this video if you can. Share this video. I'm getting ready to get out of here. Those who want to do a consultation with me, if you're out of state, if you live in Timbuktu or live in Jamaica, live in England, go through WhatsApp, because WhatsApp is where it's at. Yeah, man, you can catch me there on WhatsApp at 347-496-1022. Text me your full name and date of birth. First, middle, and last name. I don't care how many middle names you got. First, middle, and last name. And we can set up the consultation. It is $70 for 35 minutes, $90 for 35 minutes if you want it recorded and sent to you. And it is $130 for the whole hour of a conversation about your numbers and what it all means in your birthday and your name, because each and every name is transposed to numbers, and I read and break down the numbers according to each and every name that you give me. And then I break down your birthday and I explain, I give you the positive, I give you the higher frequency of the numbers, I give you the lower frequency of the numbers, I give you the neutral numbers, because like Les Brown and Dr. Farrah Gray always say, the two most important days of your life is the day you were born and the day you find out why you were born. And numerology don't take you away from your God. It don't take you away from Allah. It don't take you away from Yahweh. Don't take you away from anything that you may believe. Numerology, astrology, and all these great modalities that came out of our ancestry before religion. Let me make sure we're clear. It came out of our ancestry before religion. These modalities were the guiding lights of those times to help guide in their universal principles that can help you, as long as they do it with the right intention from the heart. And that's what I strive to do. I do my numerology from the right intention from my heart, because I know what it means to be guided. I know what it is to have a GPS mess up on you, or somebody malfunction a GPS, or you don't know the map. I still have a map, for God's sake. You see this? I still have a road map. This is ancient. Rand McNally road map. I still have a road map. That's how deep it is. Because if this electronic shut down, guess what? I'll go to my roadmap. If the electronics shut down, I'll carry my roadmap. And as a matter of fact, a roadmap is in my disaster preparedness kit all the time, just in case the electrical grid gets shut down, or there's some kind of solar flare that shuts down, or sends a EMP pulse, an electromagnetic pulse, and shuts down half of America. I always have myself prepared. I always have my Faraday cage. You know what a Faraday cage is? A Faraday cage is it's a cage that absorbs electrical impulses, electromagnetic pulses, if it's sent out from either the universe or if there was a bomb drop at certain places. My Faraday cage will protect my equipment. I make sure at least one computer is in my Faraday cage. All the rest of them will go out. If there was an imp blast inside, an electrical magnetic pulse blast was happened over the New York City, it will shut down every other computer except the one that I have in my Faraday cage, and except my communication devices that I have. I have walkie-talkies just in case of emergency. That's all I'm saying. Not going to get into that right now. If you want to find out further information about that, go to our website, readyforanything.org. That's readyforanything.org. That's readyforanything.org. If you want to find out anything about disaster preparedness, disaster awareness, go to our website, readyforanything.org. That's REDYFOR anything, ANYTHING.org. That is our website for disaster preparedness and disaster awareness. But those who want to do a numerology consultation, health, business, relationship, whatever, 347-496-1022. That's 347-496-1022. Text me. You could only text me your full name, date of birth, and then I will send you my schedule, because sometimes I'm in and out and I'm traveling. There's no face-to-face with me, because I'm constantly traveling. As a matter of fact, I'll be heading probably down to Florida to go visit my father probably in another few days or another few weeks, but I'm definitely heading out. So I love you. I respect you. Make sure you share this video. Also, go to my King Simon Presents on YouTube. You'll catch a lot of different other stuff on there. King Simon Presents on YouTube. Check me out. And happy birthday to all those Leos. Today is Wesley Snipes' birthday. Today is also my birthday. That's Brother Polite's first daughter. My happy birthday to that. My spiritual niece, my and of course, bring up to my brethren, Wesley Snipes. I've met him a couple of times. He's definitely trained with a few martial arts friends of mine, so enough respect to him. And look, have a blessed day, afternoon, or evening, wherever you may be on this planet Earth, all 196,940,000 square miles of the planet Earth. I love and respect you, love and honor to our ancestors, love and honor to the creative forces that works within us and outside of us. We are gods having a human experience. Take care, be at peace, and thank you for tuning in. Love you too, Joy. Love you too. Love you too.